So I'm going to start the speech off with some questions, and I just want you to raise your hand if this is true. I would save a life at little or no cost to myself. There's a concerning amount of hands. Okay. Can you click? Thank you. I would save a life if it took 30 minutes of my time. I would save a life if it included needles. This is where most hands go down. I would save a life if I had to donate blood. Who here has donated blood? And the hands go down. Okay. Oh, can you put, oh yeah, I didn't know. My fault, I should have told you ahead of time. My speech obviously is over why we should all donate blood and how it can help the world. I'm going to be going over why the lack of blood donation is a problem, who it affects, and how it can be beneficial to you if you donate blood as well. Could you click, please? Thank you. So, before I start this though, I've got to explain who I am and why I'm lecturing all of you people. So, donating blood to me is because I think that it's just important to do good things, and I see it as a really easy way of helping other people. It's like, you enter a room, you spend 5 minutes of your time, and there you go, you've saved a life, maybe 3 if it's for babies. We save babies. And why you should listen to me is because I've done this field before. Blood donation is one of my pet projects. I every time I see a drive, I go to all my friends and I say, you should all donate blood with me. I did my first speech on donating blood. I've done my English, my English essays are, generally I do at least one on donating blood. Because I think it's just an important thing to spread around, is just do something good for the day, do something good for the week, right? And I'm also a frequent blood donator. I donate blood at least every half year. I try to donate blood every time I see a drive. Can you go through? And I guess the question is, why should we all care about donating blood? I mean, we often kind of overlook it. Like, a lot of us just kind of like walk by, there's a blood donation, but we just don't really think about it. We don't consider it. And it's important because it will help those in need. It will help you, and it's something that will ultimately affect everybody. People you love, people you know, your friends, yourself. Blood shortage is a serious issue that the nation faces. ABC News, when reporting on the blood shortage in the nation, noted that there are about 80,000 units of blood that is needed a day, but we're only receiving about 36,000. That means that all of those people in the red on this little picture are people who would not have blood otherwise. And this is important because only 10% of people are actually donating blood on an annual basis. Like, if we just got 20%, 1 in 5 people donating blood, this entire graph would just be red, or be orange, it'd all have blood. They'd be able to, and this is important because it's used in basically any surgery where they cut you open. If they're cutting you open, they need blood. Because if you're getting cut, there's going to be blood. You're going to lose blood. So without blood available, hospitals can kind of like shut down because they really can't cut you open and cause you to bleed if they can't give you more. So I mean, you have like an appendix issue, you have an issue with your knee, you have an issue with your arm, you broke your arm, you get in a car crash, you need blood. You have cancer, you need blood. You have sickle cell disease, you need blood. Next slide, please. So the people you would be helping with this would be one of the 1.7 million expected yearly cancer patients, as reported by America's Blood Centers, which is a site dedicated to improving awareness of this issue. So the 1.7 million people, that's only about 1/3% of the population, but 1.7 million is like the size of this town times a factor of 1,000. Like 1,000 Warrensburgs is the people who need the blood here. Many of the people who live their life, as reported by Blood Connection, need monthly to like weekly blood donations in order to not have to go through terrible pains that have been reported to as like unbearable to rather mild, and this would be due to a sickle cell, which is a deformity in your red blood cells. And as stated earlier, most of the surgeries you will encounter will generally need some form of blood transfusion. So, he's getting it. So, I guess all of us are into the altruistic, let's help other people type of feel, right? It's kind of sappy. Doing good for the sake of doing good isn't something we should all do. So I think you should all also think about being greedy here, because donating blood is something that I found has helped me. The first time I donated blood, and this is the complaint I get a lot about people, is that they're scared of needles. Like needles, I don't like needles, I still don't like needles. Most people I know probably also don't like needles. If you do, I think you're crazy and we should talk. So, I mean, the first time I donated blood, I went up there and I'm like, this is something good, I gotta do this, And they put me in the chair, they put it in, I'm looking away, and like, they give me a stress ball, like, for 5 minutes, I finished in 5 minutes, because I was just squeezing that ball. My heart was, it was bad, it was crazy. But now, I kind of just go in there, I put in my iPod, it's like, this is nice, and I just start counting the ceiling tiles, and I'm done. It's like, you go through it and you learn to face your fears, and now I'm not really afraid of things anymore. And I think it's a valuable lesson that even if you're afraid, and this is the most common source I get from people not wanting to donate, that you should donate because you will stop being afraid. And this is useful because needles won't go away in your life. People have found diseases in themselves due to donating blood, because obviously they're not going to pass your blood through if you have a disease. But not only will they not pass it through, they will warn you, and there have been lives saved because they have found an early onset of a disease in your blood, and they're like, we can't do this, man, you need to know about this, and they tell you. There are scholarships for donating blood, and there are scholarships for not donating blood. You can donate blood, or you could help run a charity. So if you really, really hate needles, you could always do this, which is just as helpful because you're raising awareness, but doing this will get you money, which will help with our college, because obviously we're all very poor. So, yeah, and then some companies will pay you for blood. 50 to 60, and not red blood cells, because that's illegal, but they will pay for platelets and they will pay for plasma. This is $40 to $60. That is like a lot of soda. Like, a lot. So it's worth it. And so, basically, in conclusion, blood donation is important to many people because they need it, some need it to live, and some need it so that their friends don't die. And when you die, everyone around you is affected. It's hard to say that nobody's not affected by a lack of blood in this country. Because if you know someone who's ever died, or they had to have a surgery delayed, or they just, you know, there's just not enough of it. So there's a lot of people. I know my cousin who was in a car accident quite recently. If they were like, no, you don't have blood right now, he'd be dead, actually, quite dead. I was just brain dead. I'm so sorry. For those of you, and if you take one thing from this, just kind of contemplate participating in the drive. This university is really good about giving up blood drives. About 3 weeks ago, or 2 weeks ago, there was a blood drive right there. If you would just like walk past the door, you would have seen it. And if you're looking to donate in the future, there's often information on the university website about this, and there's often donations. If you just Google local blood drives, there will almost always be some sort of blood drive in your proximity. To finish it off, I'd like that you don't underestimate the impact of a simple gesture of donation, because while it can take about 30 minutes of your time and you kind of freaking out, you're saving someone potentially years off of theirs. It's like 30 minutes for 30 years type of thing, right? So just kind of don't underestimate that, please.